Now solve this question. 3 open bracket x minus 2 close bracket is equal to 4 open bracket 2x minus 5 close bracket. I'll repeat that again. Solve 3 open bracket, then you have what? X minus 2, then you close bracket. It's equal to, then you have 4 open bracket 2x minus 5 close bracket. Okay, so let's try and see if we can solve this question. It's another direct question. Now note this. At the left hand side of our equation, we're having 3 open bracket x minus 2 close bracket. Now, the first most important thing that you need to do here is to try as much as possible to make sure that the bracket disappears. The bracket should disappear. So we have 3x minus 6 at the left hand side, and then we have 8x minus 20 at the right hand side. Okay. At this point, just like the first example that we did earlier, you're going to do what? You try as much as possible to collect like terms. Now, here we have 3x, and then we have 8x. 3x and 8x are like terms. They are like terms. Okay, but what about minus 6 and minus 20? They are also what? Like terms. They are also what? Like terms. Okay, so at this point now, minus 6 will cross over to the right to go and make minus 20, and minus 6 will change to what? Plus 6. Now, at this point, your minus 8 will leave the right hand side and cross over to the left hand side, and it will automatically change to minus 8. Sorry, it was plus 8 at the right hand side. So to change to minus 8 at the left hand side. I'm sorry about that. All right. It was positive 8x at the right hand side. So if you're crossing over to the left hand side, it's now going to be what? Negative 8x. So we're now going to be having these mathematical statements next. 3x minus 8x is equal to, on the right hand side now, we now have what? Minus 20 plus 6. Minus 20 plus 6. Listen, as a student watching this, please pay attention. Whenever you are adding a smaller number to a bigger negative number, the best thing for you not to think too much is this. Forget about the negative sign of the bigger number first and subtract the positive number from that big number. Whatever you get, just add your negative sign. Simple! If you do that, if you remember this, you will not think too much. Whenever you see a negative bigger number adding or being added to a smaller positive number, as we have in this case, minus 20 plus 6 will now be what? Minus 14. Simple! Don't think too much about it. Why? 20 minus 6 is going to give you what? 14. If you have followed the basic rule I've just told you right now, you're going to get what? Minus 14. It's that simple. So you don't have to think too much. Students have issues with this. Right now, if you're having issue with it and you follow this rule, you will never have any issue with this again. All right? Okay, now let's go to the next step. That's the next mathematical statement. All right? Okay, so now at the left hand side, we had 3x minus 8x initially. So now that will change. So we're now going to be having minus 5x at the left hand side, because 3x minus 8x is minus 5x. You're having a smaller number subtracting a bigger number, your answer will be negative. But what you just do is to subtract that smaller number from that bigger number and then put your answer in the negative. Now, note this in mathematics. This is another basic rule I want you to just note. It is not normal for you to say 3 minus 8. It's abnormal. But it's normal for you to say 8 minus 3 because 8 is bigger than 3. So whenever you're having something like 3 minus 8, just subtract 3 from 8. Get your number, but put a minus sign because it's abnormal. So you are showing the fact that it's abnormal by putting that minus sign. Simple! Note this and you have this. Yes. So 3x minus 8x is 5x. Simple. So you have 5x. No, minus 5x, sorry. Minus 5x. Is 5x quite all right when you subtract your 3x from 8x? But you now have your 5x, but put your negative sign as minus 5x. So at the left-hand side, now we have minus 5x is equal to minus 14 at the right-hand side. So at this point, we divide both sides by the coefficient of x. What is a coefficient? I have already explained this in another video, but I'm going to say this now. The coefficient of an unknown letter is that number that is with the unknown letter. So in this case, the unknown letter, or the variable here, is x. X. And then we have minus 5 as the coefficient, not 5. There is a sign. So the sign there is minus. So you have minus 5 as a coefficient. So I've told you already that the golden rule that has to do with solving of the equation is to try as much as possible to apply the same basic operation that you do at the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So in this case, we're now dividing both sides of the equation with the number minus 5. If you divide minus 5x by minus 5, you're going to get x. If you divide minus 14 by minus 5, the minus will cancel out the minus. You're no longer having any minus sign. You're left with 14 divided by 5. Now you ask yourself this question. It's a very, very simple question. How many times will 5 go into 14? It's 2 times. If you note your tables very well, like I've always said, knowing your tables matters a lot in mathematics. All right, you know your 5 times 2 is 10. 10 is not up to 14, so you can't go with that. All right? So you have your 10. Okay, yeah, you can go with that. So just pay attention. You have 5 times 2 is 10. Then you have 5 times 3 is what? 15. Now 15 is greater than what? 14. So we cannot concentrate on 3, but we can concentrate on 2 because 2 times 5 is 10 and 10 is less than 14. So what you now do is this. I hope you know that by saying 14 divided by 5, they want you to divide out 14. If 14 were to be a multiple of 5, you're not going to have issues, so you just divide it out. But since it's not a multiple of 5, you try to look for the closest number to it. And the closest number to it is not 3 because 3 times 5 is 15 and 15 is greater than 14. Hence, you'll be making a terrible mistake if you choose 3. Rather, you go and choose 2 because 2 multiplied by 5 will give you 10, which is the nearest number to 14 that is less and yet a multiple of 5. I will repeat that. Excuse me, please. 2 times 5 is going to give you 10. 10 is a multiple of 5. And it is less than 14. In other words, it's the only multiple of 5 that is less than 14 that you're going to need in this question. There's no other multiple of 5 that is less than 14. That's the closest to 14 and yet less than 14. The next multiple of 5 that is less than 14 is 5 and is farther away from 14. 10 is the closest to 14 and yet a multiple of 5. So you choose 10. Now, what did you multiply by 5 to get 10? 2. So 2 will now become the number you write down. 2 whole number. What is now left? 4 is left because 14 minus 10 will give you 4. So we can now say that 4 is left. So that is why in mathematics you have something like this. 2 whole number 4 over 5. That's a mixed number. Now you have that because 5 was not able to divide out 14 perfectly because 14 is not a multiple of 5. If it were to be 15, you have 3 because 15 is a multiple of 5. If it were to be 20, you have 4 because 4 is a multiple. Sorry. If it were to be 20, you have 4 as your answer because 20 is a multiple of 5. Yes. So 14 is not a multiple of 5. 10 is a multiple of 5. But to get that 10, you multiply 2 by 5. So 2 is your whole number. So 14 minus 10 is going to give you 4. 4 is the numerator up, and then you have 5 beneath. So you have 2 whole number 4 over 5 as your x, which is your final answer.